on the Tomb Warden. So now Nalgadon would have to attack in with his weapons project, take the 8, give him more healing, and he protects the Divine Shield, so then Nalgadon can't use the Shrivala to kill off this Tomb Warden. This is really smart.
If you play... If you play Zephyrus, what's it going to offer you? Tyrion, weapon removal, and Black Knight. So yeah, I'm feeling like this is a very tough situation where Nalgadon feels pretty cornered.
Yeah, I mean, he can't win from this position, it doesn't feel like.
I think he might have to Zephyrus. No, he has to Holy Wrath now. No, I think he needs to Zephyrus remove the 8/5 and start whacking face.
If he Holy Wrath's face now, Zephyrus would likely offer a silence.
Oh, you're right. Oh, so then he should play Holy Wrath first and then Zephyrus.
Because then there's only 1 mana or less remaining.
Or Urshock. It offends you.
Or Urshock, yeah, Urshock as well.
I'm out of cards.
Okay, just plays a second Shrivala. Gains a bunch of life.
Oh no, this is way better. This is way better.
But the second copy of Shrivala is what we're forgetting.
That's game.
Yeah, the second copy of Shrivala that he could play immediately for 0 mana.
Oh,
TJ.
yeah. All right. Gallon needs... I thought it was unwinnable for Gallon because of Gallon's setup. But that's game. He set up a way to win because now he has True Server Champion to contest the damage on board.
Yep. And now he has Zephyrus to finish. Yeah, really well done by Nalgadon.
Yeah. And he even has Zephyrus. Like, he held on to Zephyrus. He managed to do it even through Zephyrus.
This would be a good time for
And these are 2 matchups that are supposed to be bad for Nalgadon, right? He had, or rather, Gallon had an advantage going into it with Warrior versus Paladin. It should be one that goes his way. And in the end, Gallon went for an aggressive line with almost no chance to pressure down the Paladin. But there was a lot of opportunities where he needed more life
and maybe
and more armor.
If you forced Nalgadon in that position, Nalgadon gave himself a guaranteed win at the end. If Gallon just removes the Shrivala with the Tomb Warden on board, then he has both shield slams in hand the next turn. But then all of his armor goes away. But then he could shield block double
Does
shield
all his
slam.
armor go away?
Yeah, because he had Holy Wrath the next turn. So all of his
right.
and then he shield blocks double shield slams the next turn.
Yeah.
And then he might be in a better position. I don't know. That ending of that game was nuts.
Very tight, contested back and forth, but Nalgadon gets the final laugh. Let's go ahead and check in with him. All right, Nalgadon, you there?
Hi.
I see a big grin on your face. What are you smiling about? What makes you so happy today, huh?
Yeah, winning is always good, especially when they call you out, right?
For sure, yeah. Now let's talk about the fact that yesterday Gallon had some words for you. We saw your reply on Twitter, and you're kind of talking about it. Do you want to clarify some of that a little bit for people who didn't get a chance to look at what you were responding to on Twitter?
Sure. So Gallon yesterday said as far as I understand, he didn't say that I'm bad. He should say that my attitude when I lose is not the best. And he's right on that. The thing is, people don't know that even if I say I get unlucky and I get mad and whatever other reason and the meta, blah, 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 I still go back to my games and I still watch my mistakes. I'm trying to improve them. So I don't think that my attitude after losing is holding me to improve.
Fair enough. One thing we say
but
is...
I share his point of view. Like, if you're a competitive player, you should try to improve all the time, even if you think you're unlucky.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. We say on broadcast, you could complain about it or you can do something about it. Apparently, Nalgadon does both.
You can do both,
He complains about it and he does something about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Why not?
Really, really good back and forth there. Game number 1. It seems like the Warrior crushing the Priest. That's a really common thing that's happening today. Was that kind of exactly how you imagined it, going into the Warrior versus Priest and then beating something like OTK Paladin versus Warrior right after?
So the first matchup, I think like after the banning phase, I got a very big advantage. After that, my Warrior was kind of like very good because we had one mirror and then Su and then Priest. And the reason I brought Warrior this week was especially because I saw Eddie and Gallon both had Warlock last week. So I didn't want to be like that susceptible to, to Priest and Su. Warrior it's good in those matchups. I actually touched the Warrior a bit more to be more consistent to Priest because I wasn't too sure like if it's that good versus Priest. But then I added in like more clear, silence, Militian Commander and stuff just to be sure I beat Priestess. And then, second match, I practiced that match yesterday. The Paladin versus Warrior. It's not exactly favored for the Paladin, in my opinion, but you get there a lot of the times. Like, it's not that easy for the... Not just for the Warrior, but for example, for Druid as well, we saw a lot of Paladin versus Druid. It's not that easy to get more than 50 HP in 2 turns like the Paladin does.
Yeah, it seemed really tricky, and he had like a lot of good tools too, because he had the shield block, he had the weapons project, and he had Dr. Boom. But I think you navigated that really well and put up enough pressure just to make it very awkward for him. So well done. TJ, any final question for now? Gadon?
No, man. Just congratulations. I like seeing these kinds of stakes in matches.
It's
not
fun,
just a
right?
one match.
It's fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Now it's your turn now, Gadon. Who do you want to call out?
Wait, who do you know who you play next week?
I'm playing. I think my last match of the first round is Purple, if I'm not wrong.
Ooh.
All right, Purple. Any words for Purple
any
next
words
week?
for Purple?
Not really. I'm not a guy that say things. I don't know.
Okay.
Now Gadon's is a nice guy.
We don't want to force it anyway.
Yeah,
well, we do, but if you don't want to force it.
We're glad to receive it. We're basically a priest sitting at the confessional. Anytime you want to come to us to complain about players, we're here. Congratulations, now Gadon. You're firmly in first place in Division A. Well, good luck next week.
I would like to add something that because in the last days we've been hearing a lot from everyone that America is playing bad and stuff. Even I see EU players in the chat come here and say that we are bad, but I would like to add that this is a very hard meta to play. There are a lot of matchups that are hard, and if you go back to watch the EU matches, there are a lot of mistakes as well, or better plays to do. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, you definitely know now. Tell him. Tell him like it is.
He's not talking about
That's right.
He's not talking about his match next week. He's talking about his match in a few months
That's
when he
right.
gets to the global
At
finals.
the global finals.
And fights against Europe.
That's right. Now Gadon just played Holy Wrath on EU Grandmasters for 25.
There
Woo!
we go.
Let's go now, Gadon. All right. That's a great way to wrap up the interview. Thank you so much, and we'll see you back next week. I'm pumped.
Thank you.
Let's go now, Gadon. That's what I want to hear.
He's playing the long con.
All of a sudden, he just got a lot of American fans.
Yep.
Because there's one thing that USA definitely wants to prove. It's that we are better than Europe.
Yep. And, one thing we also like to do is to lump everybody else into the USA.
That's right. He's
like Argentina.
Yeah, exactly. He's South America, but he's still part of the conversation of NA greater than EU.
You can't spell South America without America.
Well said. Speaking of, another member from South America, Race, going up against Monsanto. Team Genji face-off. You just saw Team Genji able to plant themselves #1. And once more, we see a deviation down the middle, the Priest and the Warrior. This might become a fated battle. And you know what, TJ? It's pretty iconic. It's Horde versus Alliance. WoW Classic is out. Anduin leading the Priests for the Alliance. Garrosh leading the Horde. Am I right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed.
There you go.
But Garrosh eventually
It was 50-50.
turns evil, and Ando eventually grows up and becomes a wuss, but then mans up and
Well,
becomes a
Varian
champion.
also represents the Warriors too.
yeah, but
But
then,
Garrosh.
spoiler alert, Varian dies.
What?
Yeah,
How can he die? He summons the armies of Stormwind.
no, he dies.
Oh, just like that, huh?
Yeah,
All right. Well, that sucks. I want my money back.
yeah. F's in the chat for Varian Rin.
Varian Rin was a sick card.
It was.
It was cool. It was like Master Oakheart, but with like 50 tons of testosterone packed behind it.
That was one of my favorite decks to play of all time.
Yeah.
Tempo Warrior.
He pulled out. So Varian Rin was a 10 mana 7/7, that legendary card for Warrior. That's Battle Cry. Summon 3 minions from your deck. So you'd play 3 fat minions, which is in honor of every testicle that Varian Rin has.
That's right, Dan. Watsato going to be playing the combo priest in this game number 1.
Juan Samdi, very similar in terms of just putting big presence on the board.
Yep.
And drawing a bunch of cards. But we'll see who comes out ahead in this epic battle between the priest and the warrior. I mean, the thing about it, though, is that this ban strategy also has been lining up in favor of the control warrior protectors. In fact, let me take a quick look.
Yeah, Eddie. And then Nalgadon.
And also Firebat.
Yeah. And
Oh, no, Firebat banned warrior and protected priest.
did race ban mage?
No, race banned quest druid.
Okay. This is a little more risky of a strategy. Race has a similar lineup to Eddie. And Eddie's ban strategy works out against Strife Crow because he could kind of target with Warrior and be guaranteed a good match with Warrior, whereas Race could not, considering that Monsanto has the Highlander Mage in his list, which ends up making the matchup a little bit more interesting. More is hinged on this game 1 for Race than it was for Eddie, and kind of the same strategy that he employed. Race does have the advantage in the Warrior Mirror matchup with the Baleful Banker, the Faces Manipulator, and the Hecklebots. Wow, look at that hand.
Is someone injured?
Yep, the Spellbreaker, I'd argue, is the big difference maker in Algadon's deck list.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he mentioned he wanted to double down on the Warrior versus Priest matchup.
TJ, I do not play a Hearthstone deck that cannot beat Northshire Cleric anymore. That's just not what I do. That's why I play Quest Road, because I thought Underbelly Fence, a great way to snipe it. I play Pilfer on one, or I quest, and I coin Pilfer, and then they play Northshire Cleric, and I just play Pilfer or some kind of thing, and then I just like the Underbelly Fence, and then I win.
Man, you know what card would be great in this metagame? Scorpomatic.
I play a Mossy Heart in that deck. They buff their stuff, I sap it.
Quest Rogue.
Quest Rogue, I've not lost to a single priest. I don't beat any other deck. But I have not lost to a single priest since I started playing Quest Rogue.
You get those priests.
Yeah. They tell me that target strategies don't exist. Well, that may be true. However, you can beat priest with a lot of different stuff. The question is, in Conquest Geo, can you beat 2 classes with your entire lineup, which tends to be Druid and Priest. Because Druid and Priest, I believe, are the 2 most popular classes this week. Mm-hmm. With Warrior being a close third. In fact, can you find a strategy to beat all 3, TJ?
Warrior, or Priest, Shaman, Druid?
No, Priest, Druid, and Warrior. Those are the 3 most popular classes. Shaman's in 4th.
Highlander Mage.
Warlock is 5th. Does it?
It's close.
Not Druid. Not Druid. You think Mage beats the Druid?
Nah. Not anymore.
The Pocket Galaxy it used
Mage,
to.
yes, Mage kept Druid out of the metagame for a while.
Right, because it had Conjurer's Calling and Frost Novas and stuff, and Druid couldn't do anything about it.
Yes.
But now, because everything's so expensive, it's hard for them to actually pull it off.
Yeah, the timing doesn't work out well. Like, Quest is all about timing. They're all about needing that much time. Like a specific amount of time.
They need specifically 4 extra mana crystals, spaced out.
And turns out the cards that got nerfed equals 4 mana crystals. 2 on Conjurer's Calling, 2 on Luna's Pocket Galaxy. It's really only 1 on Conjurer's Calling, but it's a twin spell, so it has 2. So it's a total of 2. Fun facts.
What now?
That was fun. Monsanto just has the number 7 across the board. 4-7, 1-7. Next turn he can play the 2-7. He's got the 7-7. Every minion that comes out that High Priest of Met is falling will be 7 as well.
Next week, he's going to play his 7th match. He's 27 years old.
77.
Is he 27? I don't really know.
Yeah. Well, this looks like a really easy opportunity at first glance for Monsanto to just draw cards. But I think that's what Race is wanting him to do. Because if he double trades, Race can utilize that next turn with Plague of Wrath.
He could silence trade and heal.
I think Monsanto... Yeah, that's true. That's true. Nothing has died, so Psycho Pop's not that great. I like this draw. I like the draw. I like the silence. I don't want the extra 1/1 for the Plague of Wrath, you know?
Yeah.
The Plague of Wrath is really scary because a single 1 won't be left over and 1 minion won't be healed. So Race was hoping that he just trades, heals, and then he double trades and then Plague of Wrath.
Hold on Light Warden means if Race finds a way to remove this stuff, he can Amet Light Warden. I think Monsanto's fine with these minions until Race decides to deal with them. Hecklebot. Dangerous card.
What now?
I don't know what Race wants to do here. None of these plays seem particularly appealing. Omega Devastator seems like the best play onto the board.
What
but
now?
if Monsanto has another Circle of Healing, that would be massively punishing. He double trade Circle, draw 2 cards, Race used a resource, and he's right back where he started.
Hecklebot is something that Race is weighing, but it looks pretty heavy at this juncture.
Oh! Hoi!
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. Oh, the punish, the fire. Is there a good follow-up to this inner fire? That is the question. You know, with one fell swoop, Race could also just take away the card draw source of this deck. But the threat is the Psychopomp, which summons a random friendly minion that died this game and then gives it reborn. Well, when 2 clerics are the only thing that died, pretty strong guarantee that it'll come back. Monsanto, again, developing very slowly. To be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that he went for this as opposed to the 1-7 bump, and then the 4-7 becomes the 7-7 and he kills the 3-1.
It spreads the power on board, makes it more resilient against Brawl, and because he does that, I imagine he's just trading in the second Warshire Cleric after he heals.
Makes sense.
Then he has 2 really good targets to survive, and 1 pretty decent target to survive.
Get train the Cleric.
Yep.
After she just gave him a couple cards. TJ, that is no way to treat a lady. Super Collider positioning, by the way. Monsanto very mindful of it.
Big clean plays. I like this, Dan. This feels good.
Monsanto is a man of
What
many
now?
talents.
He is
One of them is clean technical play in Hearthstone.
squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean. He is the janitor of Hearthstone.
Cleans up after other people's messes. He says, you want to make a mess? I'll clean it up.
I mean, whatever survives is problematic. That's probably that's the least problematic.
Yep.
Or is it? Or did the exact minions that Monsanto wanted to die did die with the Psychopomp?
So now he has 2 Northshire Clerics
An injured Blade Master.
and an injured Blade Master.
It's pretty decent. I mean, the clerics aren't super good.
It's decent, but I don't think it's worth it yet. Never mind.
I think it's worth.
The janitor just shut me up. Well, he hasn't
The
played it yet.
alternative is to play extra arms and like an acolyte here.
Yeah, or you can play both extra arms.
Ooh, 4 arms.
Oh, nice.
It's definitely the way to treat the lady.
The end begins.
Nice.
So you heal your opponent and punch. I like
Yep.
that. You offset the 2 life you give them with the 2 attack you get from the Light Warden. Race has to deal with this. He did, Monsanto again positioned this, I believe, around ideal super collector positioning.
I don't know.
I mean, he's putting a 3-1 in between, so. So what you want to do with Super Collider is put the least important minion in the middle, and your most important ones on the outside, so they don't bump into each other. And you also want to put the smallest amount of attack. So, based off this, it looks like is the ideal Super Collider positioning, because then you don't get the chance that the Light Warden attacks into the Injured Blade Master. So, well done.
Clean.
This looks like an opportunity for a race to just go for Ziliax and a weapons project. The only thing is that you give your opponent the 2 attack weapon to kill Ziliax right back in return.
Yeah, but it's a lot of life gain. Ooh, shield block.
Okay, so this might be just weapons project without it.
He picked up shield slam.
Slam. Man, TJ, it's been about a solid 10 minutes, but I am still riding off the high of the Malgadon interview. That was special.
It was. All right, 1 drops left in the deck for Monsanto is a Light Warden and a Beaming Sidekick. That is it. But it's a 7/7. And he's got High Priest on Met.
Consider.
Which means he can reload with a bunch of small stuff. After the High Priest on Met, that turns into big stuff.
Yeah, let's see how many 1-mana minions are in the deck, TJ.
2.
Left?
Yep,
So it's just Light Warden and Beam Sidekick?
that's right. 1 Light Warden, 1 Beaming Sidekick.
Doesn't seem too bad. 7-mana draw 2. We used to play that card all the time. It was called Ancient of Lore.
Yeah, except it was a 5/5.
Wansamdi rising up to the board, trying to claw his way to the hero power. That's dope. Cool animations. I gotta say that the legendary entrance animations are really underrated right now. There's some really cool ones. I like Dosari, because there's like a Kraken that emerges from the board, just slaps everything. Bonsamdi, which kind of climbs up. Different expansions, by the way.
Oh yeah, Bonsamdi,
What
Rastikon's Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some really cool ones.
Ziliax.
Ziliax just has the best voice line.
It's also pretty cool animation. He's like. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, where it's kind of fusing and building up into one perfect mech unit.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to miss Ziliax a lot. I've been saying this for like half a year already.
A lot of people won't though.
I'm going to be missing Ziliax a lot when it rotates out of standard.
I mean, it's just a card that fits into so many decks.
Unity.
Here it comes.
Precision.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It just sounds so good. When Ziliax rotates out, I'm going to be hosting a 21 gun salute in honor for my main man. Monsanto picks up another minion. So now we have the Amet reload. Speaking of 21 guns, right? Monsanto has Amet with Beaming Psychic, Light Warrior. Just gets increasingly more powerful. The thing is, Warrior is one of the best classes at dealing with it. It says Brawl, one of them which is used, and it has Plagues of Wrath. Or just 1 plague. Is it 1 plague or 2 plagues?
Just 1 plague for race.
Does he have a full pair of Scoundrel?
He does not. He's got a Baleful Banker. I know that doesn't help, but just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah, you could.
It's got a faceless manipulator. I know that doesn't help also, but I figured I'd mention that as well.
Maybe, you never know. Faceless manipulator on like the Saturnian Overstrike would have been really good, but
Or if Monsanto were to go all in with an injury.
Quickly.
you know, Race is getting slowly to the point where he could Arcus Elysiana coin and Devil Maker.
Wow.
He's been saving on the coin for a long time.
Remember when players were actually worried that that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Use it now.
And remember how it actually could happen, but it often didn't get down to that.
Yeah. I like the setup for Monsanto. He doesn't want to show his Ahmet plus 1-drops yet. He wants to try and bait out another removal before he goes all in with his most powerful play.
Yep, really good positioning again against Super Collider.
Yep. Monsanto thinking about everything.
What now?
Really well done.
Crossing his I's and dotting his T's. Wow, just unloads the Omega Assembly because he just needs more gas from his hand. I don't even know.
I wonder.
I mean, at this point, he might be desperate enough to go for weaponized Pinata.
I must choose.
Weaponized Pinata could give something really impactful, but it feels unlikely. Right now, Race is struggling, and finally we might see the Warrior falter to the Priest after getting a lot of games that went the other direction. That always seems to be the case, doesn't it? Where we see like the matchups tend to go one way, then one player at the very end who's like, yeah, me too. I want to be able to also crush the popular strategy with my anti-priest lineup. And then they lose. I think that happened to Amnesiac, where it was like the priest was like winning against Shaman or like winning against like everything.
I got you, friend.
And then priest didn't get it.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Sorry, I was counting.
Yeah. 10, 17.
Yep.
20, 22, 24, 26.
I think it's exact.
Yeah, it looks exact lethal.
Maybe not even the weapons project. I can't remember if I counted it, but topsy-turvy coming in clutch.
Nicely done.
Oh, exacties. That's brutal, man.
That is brutal. You were really hoping as the Warrior player to beat the Priest, and it's been going the Warrior's way when everyone's complaining about Priest and talking about it as the best deck. And you start to buy into the hype. Yeah, the previous few series we've watched, yeah, Warrior's been crushing the Priest. There's always one player to remind everyone that nothing is guaranteed in Hearthstone. It can't always be 100%. Even if it's like 70%, even if it's a freeze mage versus Warrior where it was like an 85%, once in a while, you'll always have the player that upset the player that was super favored.
Yeah, Monsanto did have some good draws and some good outcomes, but he made it super awkward for Race with good positioning all across the board, not overloading too much resources onto the board each time to play in a removal. So, well done.
Plus, you always like to see clean play rewarded.
Clean.
We're going to take a break.
Nice.
And when we come back, we're going to have game number 2 between Monsanto and Race.
The shadows are rising again, darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. There surely scorching deserts, adventure, monster of narcissism. High stakes seek annihilation, obliteration of civilization. Now is the time to be brave, evil's come to inspire.
My name is Sam Braithwaite, and I'm the Senior Global Franchise Lead for Hearthstone Esports. This event was especially cool because it takes place right after the brand new expansion, Rise of Shadows. Historically in Hearthstone Esports, we do our big events like this towards the end of an expansion cycle, but we really wanted to shake things up and really showcase that not only is the world champion the person who can pilot the best decks, but also the person who, when presented with a brand new game, can put together the best decks leading into the World Championship. Cheers to you guys, the sold-out crowd here for the HCT 2019 World Championship.
Welcome back to 2019 HCT World Championship.
We've had a lot of fun games, and we're looking forward to the grand finals. Showdown. Viper versus Hunter Ace. Only one can be the champion. Oh, come on!
Match be dead.
Wacko pick a Vince coming out from Hunter Ace.
It's now or never. Archvillain reform.
Okay! In a completely solved game, Hunter Ace finds a way to maximize his chances. It's been a wonderful journey throughout the past few years of the Hearthstone Championship Tour, where stars were made and dreams came true.
Race versus Monsanto, currently 1-0 in favor of Monsanto after some pretty pristine play with the Priest. And when you lose to games like that, where your opponent played really well against other things like the small things like Super Collider and macro strategies like when to extend to the board, how much to invest into the resources and like test your opponent based off the wide range of possibilities they have. You're not too upset about that. And he didn't even like Divine Spirit, right? That wasn't even a Divine Spirit win. That was just like a beaming sidekick flip. So in the end, if you're Race, you're obviously not happy. But at least you didn't get like the 10-10 on turn 3 victory, which always doesn't. It feels bad on both sides, to be quite honest.
And like I said, Monsanto played that, I think, very cleanly. Playing around Super Collider, playing around a lot of different removal options from Race. So he made it awkward, and he had exact lethal at the end. Like.
That's right, TJ.
Those are satisfying games to watch.
Scrub that dish.
That's not a janitor. It's a dishwasher.
It's something.
He's
involves
also the
cleaning.
dishwasher of America's Grandmasters.
That's right. He is the busboy.
Never mind. Just never mind.
Are we having a little too much fun, TJ? That was going on?
Nah. All right. I don't think so.
Magic Trick, Zephyrus, Ray of Frost, and Mountain Giant. I actually do like this hand. The one thing that would make all of it better is if Monsanto had an opportunity to play Mountain Giant right before Race gets to his quest completion. Because it usually tests the Druid to have specifically Oasis Surger to answer. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck taking 8 damage with the upside of more. This was actually a problem that existed before the Luna's Bucket Gouge nerf, right? not necessarily even just Reno Mage, but Cyclone Mage. They would just play the Mountain Giant. They played Banana Buffoon, and you just couldn't answer it.
Yeah. No, it's true. And Monsanto picks Spellbender, which I think I like more than Counterspell. Just because there's ways to test for Counterspell, but there's not great ways to test for Spellbender, especially when you're trying to do like Starfall math. Like you could innervate into a Counterspell, right? But you can't innervate into a Spellbender, and then sometimes these board clears live on a knife's edge where if you miss like a little bit of point of damage on one of the minions, it can be incredibly detrimental. So Spellbender is just a little more disruptive and harder to test for. That's why I like the Spellbender in that situation. Pretty cool. Clean.
Scoundrel.
Ooh.
I wonder if the Zephyrs here provides enough value for Monsanto. In this position, you're often offered a Wild Growth, an Animal Companion, and a Brightwing. In that spot, only Brightwing is the thing that contributes. It's the only minion that contributes toward the Mountain Giant plane of discounting it and playing it on 4.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Oh, actually, I guess he still can get it because the Wild Growth still counts as a card, too.
Yeah, Wild
So
Growth
he should
is
be
the same.
fine. Yeah, he should be fine.
Animal Companion also had merit just to try and go for an aggressive game plan, but I don't think his hand really lends itself to that outside the Mountain Giant. Ooh, Mark of Nature, Ancient of Lore, Keeper of the Grove.
So we're like the important inflection points.
What to do?
It could be awkward to try and play something on turn 4, so Keeper of the Grove could be like just in case he ends up ramping and getting like Huffer, but I think it should be fine.
Wait a gosh darn second. Isn't
What's
this kind of ironic?
What? The Conjurer's Calling?
The mage playing Wild Growth against a druid?
Oh, yeah, it is pretty funny. Yep, so Monsanto does get to play the giant on turn 4. It's not 4 mana. That's kind of the difference maker, what we're talking about.
But if Race does not deal with this Mountain Giant,
Yes.
he is in some trouble.
And it's going to get pretty bad because Race hasn't even finished the quest. And it's kind of what we're talking about, having that awkward moment where you finish the quest, but you might just die.
Yeah.
Keeper of the Grove can shut down the 3-2. Maybe challenge the 8-8 for Starfall. In fact, if Race feels so inclined, does he even just Keeper of the Grove the 8-8 ahead of time to set up the Starfall? That's too obvious, I think.
Safeguard
Yeah.
the land.
Plus, Conjurer's Calling is right there to punish him.
Conjurer's Calling is going to be pretty massive.
I'd say so, yes.
Race doesn't really have a way to like kill. If the first Mountain Giant goes off and he doesn't have a way to kill the second Conjurer's Calling, it snowballs out of control from there.
Yep. Wow, I've seen this before.
Oh, yeah.
This takes me back.
And Spellbender. This
Spellbender.
even prevents
Stop Starfall.
Starfall, like I don't even know. Starfall Innervate Wrath? Like,
Right.
what would even kill it here?
Race can't believe he says, didn't we nerf this deck into the ground? Why is it still around?
Yeah. I mean, this even prevents Race from killing off one Mountain Giant. He could otherwise Starfall and clear it off with the Keeper of Grove.
And play the Defender.
But now it's hard for him to play around both, right? Because if he Starfalls first and it hits the Spellbender, and if he's wants to play around Splitting Image, then he needs to Starfall first.
The Hidden Oasis and Anubis Defender.
Yeah, I mean, that gives him a way to kind of fight for the board, but he has no idea what this is. If it's Counterspell, he's dead on board. At this point, though, I don't even know if he can afford to play around any secrets.
Time waits for no one.
I mean, he's just laughing to himself, like, kind of laughing at his own pain right now, but...
Yep, test for Counterspell. This test for Mirror Entity.
Jewels of the sound.
Does have the opportunity to throw in the Innervate just to draw a card. Is he dead? I think he's dead. Conjure's Calling into the hero power should kill as long as there's no taunts that get generated from it. Because the Conjure's Calling gets past the taunt, 16 face, and hero power. Is there a way to guarantee it, though? There is not.
Yes, there is. Voodoo Doll, double Ray of Frost, and then Pink Face.
Yeah, double Ray of Frost of Voodoo Doll.
Double Ray of Frost of Voodoo Doll. You have exact mana to Pink Face.
Nicely done.
Clean!
It's even exact mana, exact lethal. Race can't believe it.
Yeah, exact mana, exact lethal last game as well at the end. Though it was a much longer, more drawn-out game, but Monsanto 4-2 now.
The Reno Mage also, over the course of the past 2 weeks, has gotten 3 important victories. 2 for Monsanto, 1 for Firebad.
Yeah, it's still, I think, a force to be reckoned with. I like the Reno Mage bring, especially when you consider it in like the scenario we brought up earlier. How do you multi-target the 3 most popular decks? Druid, Priest, and Warrior. I don't think there's a deck that targets all 3 of them and has a favorable win rate, but I think that Mage can hold its own against all 3.
Sure. And that's what you want in Conquest.
And that's what you want. And, you know, you don't have to play the Reno Mage. If you're going up against aggressive lineup, it's hard to find a super aggressive lineup right now, but an aggressively themed lineup, sure, you're just not going to play Reno Mage. But in these kind of pockets, I think it was a great bring, and he's rewarded with a win there.
Yep. Well, that does it for our 4th match. I'd love to talk a little bit more about that Reno Mage, but that's just left. It's just food for thought for the players to think about for the future weeks. I think it's very easy to hear influential and successful players like Hunter Ace or like Saiyan and all of them just say like, oh, this is the deck. This is like the lineup that you should play. But I do appreciate when players are able to go against the grain. One of them is Monsanto with his Reno Mage. He's going to join us for a quick interview. So let's go ahead and ask him as Monsanto joins us on the line. Monsanto, are you there?
Oh, yeah. Hello.
Hey, what's up? So, Reno Mage seems to be doing fairly well. I don't think you lost with it this week, right? You played it 2 games into 1-2-0?
Yeah.
Yep, small sample size, but that's according to plan, right? Like, basically, everything is executed according to how you thought it would?
I mean, both games I drew pretty well, but I just feel like I did against a Priest and against a Druid, and if I put a Shaman in my lineup instead of Mage, I get 2 slightly worse matchup in that position, so I feel like playing Mage was just better.
Got it. Players are just disagreeing with you and saying, like, Monsanto is wrong about Zoo versus Warrior. Monsanto's wrong about Mage versus Priest. What do you say to that?
Oh, I mean, Mage against Priest it's not that favored for the Mage, but like Zoo against Warrior with the list that we brought last week, I think was actually favored for Zoo. I did a lot of practice by myself, and I felt like it's pretty sure the Zoo was good against the Warrior I was facing back then. Not against every Warrior, but like
sure.
the greedier Warriors were pretty bad against Zoo.
The ones with the Archivist trying to beat other warriors, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, and some of them didn't have Shield Slam, some of them didn't have Weapons Project or early game.
Right. Got it. Do you feel like a lot of it might even be the fact that some players aren't exactly perfect in their piloting skills of the Zoo Warlock, or related decks like Reno Mage and the technical skills required to pilot them?
Reno Mage isn't that hard. These 2 games I played were pretty straightforward. Zoo is really hard. I've never been a fan of Zoo. I've been playing since 2016, and I've never brought Zoo to a big tournament. And I'm starting to learn Zoo right now, and it's the hardest deck for me to play. So I don't know about the others. Maybe they're a little bit rusty on their Zoo play, or maybe I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I don't know. Zoo's pretty fine right now.
Yeah, I think it's generally echoed as a sentiment across many of the players. And if you haven't really taken time to learn Zoo, this is a really good time, like you said, because the deck feels pretty rewarding when you can play it. And There's a lot of decisions to be made for sure, especially even deck building, even just like how you choose to outfit your 30 cards. All right, Masano, we are almost out of time here. So any last comments that you'd like to say? What do you think about the whole Nalgadon versus Gallon thing that went down? Just out of curiosity.
Who won? I didn't see who won.
Nalgadon 2-0.
Nalgadon 2-0'd. And also he proceeded to call out Europe right afterwards. It was great.
Yeah.
Oh, Europe? They think they're so good.
Are they?
Like they're not watching their own games. I don't know.
Yes!
Oh, 2 in a row.
That's right.
Let's get
wow,
him.
this streak is good. We're definitely going to ask Buddyface and Zalay, and I know the Zalay will deliver. So thank you, Masano. No other comments are necessary. Congratulations on your victory. A great week for you, and we'll see you back next week.
Thank you.
That's right. Slow clap is very appropriate, TJ.
Clean.
Man, I am so happy with Americas this week.
I know.
The play did
Firing
step
on all
up.
cylinders.
The play stepped up a lot.
It did.
The players' interviews stepped up a lot.
They did.
The casters are as handsome as ever. It's
They are.
great.
It is.
Yeah.
Agreed on all fronts.
Some would say it deserves a standing ovation.
Not again, Dan. Not again.
Coming next, we got
frightening.
Bloodyface versus Zalay. In our defense, that was just a joke for TJ. See, the thing is, when you cast with TJ, you gotta give him some easy lobs here to appreciate the one-on-one dynamic. A lot of my jokes aren't for any of you watching at home or around the world. It's purely for one person. So it's just to make him laugh. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, production wants to get in on it and show some of these awkward moments. So apologies if anybody got a little bit jarred by some of the antics on camera.
We have to cast.
But I'm sorry that I'm not sorry is actually the more correct way to phrase it.
We do have to cast a lot together each week. 6 to 10 hours roughly for 3 days in a row. Not really any breaks. So sometimes in order for us to stay energized, we need to keep ourselves happy.
No, TJ, we have to be professional the entire way through and break down every matchup line by line. Coming up next, we got Zoo Warlock and Combo Priest as a protect. Zalay with the only lineup without Priest. I mistakenly mentioned Firebat yesterday, also not having Priest, but I misread the columns. I accidentally divided up incorrectly on my spreadsheet here. Both warriors being banned, which means that it really comes down to if Zalay can beat the Priest early on with that Zoo. But we've also seen a couple of rabbits pulled out of the hats, most notably with Eddie's Shaman today up against Strifegrow's Priest. And with this last best of 3, TJ, what's going to happen, you think? A no Priest lineup.
I know. No Priest is kind of interesting considering Priest is just so powerful right now. And I would understand it if Zalay had like some tricks up his sleeve to be able to counter the Priest, but a lot of his decks just are pretty weak to Priest. The only one that can really stand against it is the Zoo Warlock. Even his Shaman is teched like pretty much as bad as possible as you can be teched for Priest. He doesn't have anything that can answer early board states. He does have like the former champ, which not really that great against Priest. It's way too slow. It's another thing you don't want in your opening hand added to the long list. I think it's great in other matchups. It's one of the best anti-Druid Shaman lists. It's one of the best anti-Warrior Shaman lists. But against Priest, he's going to struggle.
I am inclined to agree. That's it.
Thank you.
Take a look at our 2 players here.
You can tell we were stalling until Zalay got back, and they're like, screw it.
Let's throw it up on camera. Important match here. Bloodyface has an opportunity to move up even further in the standings. Yesterday's loss to Just Sam knocked him down from the first place race. And now, all of a sudden, with Zalay's victory, he could move from the bottom of the standings, he was tied for last place, to in the playoff contention. As you can tell, 3-3 is a pretty comfortable spot in the sense that players get a chance to fight for that playoff spot. Most likely spot number 4.
Yeah.
Zalay was 1-3 to start off the week, and he was in last place based on the tiebreakers, and I think now he's an opportunity to move into that top 4 with a victory here.
Yeah.
Monsanto also, by the way, 4-2. We have to update that stand.
Yeah, race 2-4. So Zalay's actually above him in standings. So
Zalay's 5th.
He was 5th. So could be a big win for him here, especially since Bloodyface is so close to him.
Mine.
At the same time, a defeat for Zalay would mean that there's a 4-way tie for 5th place.
Wow.
Race would be 2-4, Zalay would be 2-4, PNC would be 2-4, Amnesiac would be 2-4. That's exciting. It's very stressful for those 4 players.
Next week becomes incredibly crucial for those 4 players, especially if they have matchups against each other. Next week will end the first round robin, so any player that they have not played against yet in Grandmasters Season 2, they will play against in their division next week. So,
yeah. One thing that I feel like does go into Zalay's favor, though, and I was talking about this with Admirable, is that Zalay strikes me as the player, one of the few players who's just composed. And I think that technical play is really important. And I think deck preparation and your lineup that you submit, all of that's super crucial. I even think how you do the protect and bans is important, DJ. But I also think keeping your head cool is the most crucial thing right now. And a lot of players are struggling with it. Zalay doesn't, though.
he doesn't, no.
I feel like he just strikes me as like I'm just playing my stuff. If I lose, I lose.
Last season, he finished last place in his division, or maybe one above last place in his division. And he didn't seem too fazed by it, honestly.
Yeah, Omni Slash in general were in the bottom 2 of the divisions across
the
every
board.
Yeah, across the board. Zalay, Patra, and Fireback. It was not a great look. That's okay though. They were powering up and ramping. Yeah. They were the Quest Druids, TJ.
That's right. Or the Highlander mages.
Yeah. I think only Firebat's positive though. I think Patra and Zalay both still in the negatives with their win rate.
Yep, Zalay can change that now and at least go even. But staring up against a Northshire Cleric, Bloodyface, he was kind of cringing at first because his opening hand was pretty atrocious. He had Psycho Pump, Divine Spirit, Acolyte of Pain, but then drew the Northshire Cleric off the top, and that frown turned into a smile.
Move quickly.
As he realized that everything is okay with the world.
Everything is awesome.
In the light's name.
Bloodyface, after thinking about it, avoided the draw, says this is a matchup about tempo. I care about tempo. And with that, Zalay has an opportunity to invest into tempo with the Evil Genius. Wow, that's a real cruel way to say it.
What?
You've served your purpose, and then he kills you.
Yeah.
Wow. That's dark.
But then you're reincarnated
Kind of like that.
as something much smaller.
No, much bigger. Oh, you're talking about the lackeys.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're talking about the servant.
Whew.
So for Bloodyface, what's the best way to go about this? You can attack and then hero power with the cleric to try and get the little buff, but
Then you don't develop anything, and the 3/4 eats up your board.
yeah, this 3/4 is really problematic.
Yeah. The heal might be the best because if you just play Injured Tolvir, the Light Warden gets value traded. The Injured Tolvir gets value traded, then the Light Warden gets value traded.
Maybe you plan around the Psychopomp, so you play Injured Tolvir and then hope that Psychopomp revives one of the good things. Seems like the best course of action.
Yep. He's going to try and protect his Northshire Cleric here, but unfortunately the turn 1 Northshire Cleric will not get any draws. As long as Zalay deals with it, which it's very likely that he will.
He's got so many great options.
Yeah, it's actually possible that Zalay plays Neferset Thrasher here, but it's a little bit. It can sometimes be a liability in in matchups where you are trading often. Because if you need to trade every turn with Never Said Thrasher, you're going to continue to damage yourself. But I think Northside Cleric, you just want to remove the board whenever you can.
Yep.
And it's not like he's just removing the board, he's also developing a ton behind it.
Yep, I like maximum stats. And this is partially why, you know, what we were hearing from Monsanto, Zoo could be pretty hard. There was a lot of choices to be made that turn. There's a lot of ways you could go about it. You could just develop Never Said Thrasher to get it out of the way. You could play Witchy Lack and try to go for walls. You could try to go maximum stats on the board.
Yep.
Delay, though, one thing we can just agree is that he is in full control. This is bad for Bloody Face. Without Wild Pyromancer, very difficult to pick things apart. I think I like starting off with a Witchy Lackey or a Evil Genius of some sort. Witchy Lackey is a great way to restore the health effectively on the minion. Like that.
Oh. Jet Click. And it negates the damage that Never Said Thrasher is going to deal to himself.
That's right.
Works out quite nicely.
Bloody Face is in trouble, to say the least. He could play Injured Blade Master Never Said Ritualist for a maximum tempo, but gets answered super easily by what's on board. With the upside of Zalay having even more access to lackeys. Now the thing is, Zalay hasn't even gotten to the part where he starts to life tap a lot and overwhelm you with resources. This early game has been a ridiculous start.
Oh. So I think if you're Zalay, you just keep trying to clear this board and try and build behind it. He does have some good trades on the board. He gets to keep a lot of things alive. But then it's also a matter of what do you do with the rest of your mana? Do you life tap? Are you using Evil Genius to clear off one of these minions? Do you get rid of your 1/1 or your...
So I want to close the game as fast as possible while clearing their minions. So I think I'm only going to life tap if we need cards to play. We have ways to fill up our mana curve, so let's play it. So I'm looking at Knife Juggler first and minions. Another way we can look about this Never Said Thrasher is that it's going to cost us life. So we can... Actually, hold on. So we definitely want to play Juggler. You definitely want to kill the 2/3. You can trade the Flame Imp to the 4/7. You can go the 4/5 to the 4/7. You Evil Genius first? I guess so, because it might improve your Jugglers.
Yep.
Might even get Goblin Lackey. Ooh. That's really good. So you Goblin Lackey now. Now you trade the Thatcher Goes Face.
Nicely done.
Yeah, I like this the best.
Now this Juggler is going to give him even more board presence.
This is looking over, TJ.
Oh, yeah.
Bloody Face has like one more turn where you can wait and try to get Wild Pyromancer. But I think this is done.
And if that's the case, if you know you need Wild Pyromancer to survive, do you play Acolyte of Pain here to absorb some damage and draw deeper?
I think you might need the Acolyte to draw more than one card.
Yeah, but you can't... You wouldn't be able to play it, because if you play Wild Pyromancer, Acolyte of Pain, Topsy-Turvy, you only have mana left for the Divine Spirit. It might let you pick up a 1-mana spell.
Yeah, that's fair.
Speak to me.
This guarantees at least 2 draws.
So Goblin Lackey on the Thrasher gets it to 5 attack. That's the most attack you can place on one minion. We have 2, 4, 7, 10, 11 damage right now. So they could look for Ethereal Lackey to get a spell. Finds Ethereal Lackey. Also finds Goblin Lackey.
Yeah, the 3 choices, since you can't see them on screen, Witchy Lackey, Goblin Lackey, and Ethereal Lackey. Yeah. Though this will risk the juggle into the Acolyte of Pain.
From nothing. Power.
Demon Fire. Demon Fire, Fiendish Circle, Bane of Doom. Demon Fire is playable right now on the Voidwalker.
Almost out of time.
Okay. Lay says, you know what? Just get him.
I have different things in mind. You have 1 turn to clear this board.
Yeah, and Bloodyface picks up more card draw, and he can draw a little. He can draw 2 cards, maybe.